Hell, guys, today we'll be continuing what if humanity existed in late Cretaceous or is teleported in late Cretaceous. Either way. So, we have basically expanded most of these empires, the first empires and civilizations, basically massively. But we'll be continuing to do this series. So, the green team here, this lightest green team, they start to explore this small peninsula and they realize there's a lot of land here. So basically what they do is, guess what? They take a huge they end up taking a huge portion of this land on the coast. And then they take over this area. Now the capital city, which is on the coast, is way more defended. Also, they'll finally go down and annex this little area here. They're basically one of the big superpowers now. That the population is booming, and they also continue to expand further here. And basically, they're like Mexico of this world. Meanwhile, this purplest team continues to expand alongside the coast here, but then they realize they meet into another country. This is a big problem as well. Says they can't really expand this way now. All they can really do is expand upwards. And yeah, this is going to be a pretty big problem as well. They do start to expand this way, which discovers a lot of land is here. A lot of land. Meanwhile, the pink team will continue to expand their land. They're a landlocked country. They're not really. And they meet up again with the orange team, which the orange team does not like the pink team's expansion. So they're going to fight a war over this. Yes. So they take away some of these settlements the pink team has taken. Or this kind of, not really a pink team. What color is this? Like a dark pink? This dark pink team. And they take a lot of this land. And this is like a very unpopulated, it was recently settled. But they start to struggle in the more robust areas, as most of the orange team's population is centered around here. It is centered around here, and that's going to be a big problem as this pink team. In this series, I kind of want people to come up with their own war and stuff while they're coming up with this. I don't want to. It's not like the Run of Aza's Y series where I come up with the country names, I come up with the province names that break away to form their own countries, and how countries change over time. This is like a kind of a more simplistic version of that series. But basically, they want to take this really big populated area, but this dark pink team won't let them. They do take over this area, but the thing is, they're not a very. Orange team is the second most strongest country militarily, but they're not doing too well against this pinkest country, and they don't really want, and the people don't really want to expand this way, so they basically made a peace deal. Basically, they're gonna have to take all this land here, which is very low population density area, to basically create this kind of ugly ass border here. I'm gonna make it a bit more complex. It's gonna be kind of like that. That will be the border decided. The blue team realizes there's a lot more land to expand, so they start to kind of expand further south. Here, or the blue team basically takes all of this area here. And they expand this way. They also discover this little island and colonize it. The blue team is now becoming one of the most powerful countries in the world, alongside the orange team. And the power is kind of shifting away from these two countries here, as they don't really have much options to really expand. And again, they could expand this way and this way, but again, most of the civilizations have been based around the sea. As you can see here, almost every civilization at this point has been revolving around the sea, and that's where the next civilization pops up in California. This is like a California civilization, and this white blue team right here, they set up a capital city. Is this the same exact? Oh, it is the same exact color as that water. So we're gonna make a darker blue team. And this is another blue team. Not to be confused with that white blue team. So this is gonna be like they explore a lot of this land here, even going all the way up here. And the capital will be kind of like here. And yeah, that's where the capital is. This is a new country. They kind of were just explorers from the green team. And because they were so far away, this lighter green team, they basically formed their own country. And they started to expand into the inner areas as well. So now we're going to go back to Europe. So Europe hasn't really been colonized all too much. But this is going to change today. So Europe, the yellow team is going to expand. So they're going to explore basically the rest of this area here. Basically, they think this is like, there's a lot of land. They realize there's a lot of land here. So the yellow team, which is like the first OG civilization in Europe, takes all of this land here. We don't know if it'll be sustainable or not, but they still take it. Meanwhile, rebellion in the red team begins as the lower half of the country declares independence. This is a bad time to be the red team right now, as this upper area and the southern area are very, very, very differently culturally and demographically. That these areas, they're not really connected culturally. Okay, they're not really connected culturally, and this is a big problem, as this is. It's unlike the blue team or the connected culture or the yellow team. These borders have always been a massive problem, as the only way to connect these two is through bridges, which doesn't exist, or boats, which are very, very hostile sometimes when it comes to the weather. So the more prosperous side of the country starts a independence movement, and they start to basically conquer a lot of the land here. This offers yellow team a chance to take over some of the red team's land. This is a pretty bad day for the red team, and the yellow team starts to basically invade territories by the red team, and this is, not a very good look for the red team, because they're struggling against the yellow team. They're struggling against this new rebellion, and the rebellion continues to expand even more. They're not going to take this area is much more fortified, so they basically, defending themselves pretty greatly here. Even taking some land away from the yellow team. Well, they basically take over all of this land here. And this is basically becoming a massive mess. So basically, these are probably going to decide the new borders, as either side cannot really win. So basically, the borders will be decided. So the yellow team and this new pinkest team will decide on this border. Here, this country, this side is much more powerful. They'll also annex this historic land, which was originally controlled by the red team, and now the red team basically controls all of this land here. The yellow team controls all of this land here. Meanwhile, the yellow team will lose these provinces here, which they're kind of very rural provinces. There wasn't really any major cities in these settlements. This country's capital will be right around here. So that's this new country's capital. It's right above here. There's now 4 countries up here. 4. Now we have a new team popping up. And that is this weirdest color team. This weird team. This is like a weird white, kind of like a grayish pink team. They form around Greenland, and this is the first civilization there. Again, you gotta realize in the late Cretaceous, it is much warmer than it is today. So they were able to form a civilization on the Greenlandic coast, creating a small. This civilization will basically be like the similar to these civilizations. They're not really, the most climatically. Like, this is kind of like living in Illinois or temperate area. It's a temperate area, and our time is like down here. But the Cretaceous is like up here because of how much warmer it is. And the Arctic is... There's like one Arctic civilization. But basically, there isn't really many Arctic civilizations. There's this one civilization up here, but there is no sea ice. So these Arctic civilizations actually do way better because of that. There is the cold, but it only happens really in winter. The heat as well. So yeah. Meanwhile, more of North America continues to be discovered by the Blue Team, discovering even Alaska. They report that there's way more land than expected, and the Blue Team sees this as an opportunity to expand further north, which is what they do. The Blue Team expands all the way to like Vancouver, where they basically can't really expand further up north, as basically they don't have enough people to. As this country is still very lowly populated, most of the population density is figured around here, so it's going to take years or even decades for the population to move upward. But that is basically the goal of the country, kind of like how this green team is not really expanded anymore, because most of the population density is here. There is now finally starting to be populated in these 2 areas here, and yeah, that's why those that have been really much expanded. For example, the orange team, they're finally settling the areas, which is why they had such bad success with this pink team, this darker pink team, because this country is kind of like, not very popular. It's much more populated. They had much more time to develop the country. Meanwhile, orange team was focused on expansion. Meanwhile, these Scandinavian countries continue to discover Europe, and they discover there's way more to Europe than meets the eye. There's way more, and they explore. They don't expand. They don't explore now, but they basically explore all of this land here. And the yellow team wants to be greedy. They want to be very greedy, and they essentially hog all this coast. Of course, it is obviously not going to stay because this is a lot of land to take control of, and it is basically the consequence of this purple team. As this purple team, this area wants independence. This is basically an area that was settled a long time ago, but they are, again, kind of like that one team, they're very culturally independent. Unlike the purple team can't really fight against this rebellion. They're very unstable. So for a second province, this dark blue, this weird what color? This weird color country also breaks away, and these countries established their own capital cities. They're actually very close to each other. So these 2 countries now established here, and this purple team country isn't doing too well. And that's it about the series. So this is the part 4, I think, of this series. And we have seen a lot of events happen, countries break away, but there hasn't really been a massive empire yet, because I don't think we're at the age of a massive empire. The largest country I think in the world is definitely the Orange Team. I think they're probably the largest country in the world. They encompass a lot of land. Or the White Green Team, that's a pretty large country as well. They're probably the one up for the largest country in the world. And probably the smallest country is this weird pink team, which is just hanging, or not this weird pink team, this dark blue team over here. and this Scotland country right here. But yeah, basically the civilizations are starting to bright up and become bigger and bigger. We'll see definitely what happens in the future with the role of the late Cretaceous world as well. So yeah, I support this video here. Goodbye.